much would you be prepared to pay to guarantee your child access to an as yet unproven but potentially life-saving cure for disease? It's a question now facing every new parent as they decide whether to harvest their baby's umbilical cord blood at birth. Cord blood donated by strangers is already widely used in bone marrow transplants, but some scientists believe it could have much broader applications as a ready-made cure for a baby's own future illness. In case the researchers are right, some mums and dads are paying thousands of dollars to privately store their baby's blood. It's now big business, but is it a sound investment? Danielle Parry reports.
Beautiful.
Baby Jake Perozzi is only 6 days old, but he's already on the cutting edge of medical science. Blood was extracted from his umbilical cord in the hope it could one day be used to safeguard him from disease.
I asked my obstetrician and he said if he was having a baby he would do it, so that was good enough for me.
A technician at Perth's Glengarry Private Hospital removed Jake Perozzi's rich cord blood in the moments after his birth. The hope is that the young, versatile stem cells in his blood could eventually be used to repair parts of his body damaged by anything from cystic fibrosis to a heart attack, with no risk of rejection. Immune cells in his blood could also offer a breakthrough in managing diseases such as diabetes. The Perozzis are using their baby bonus to pay for their son's sample to be frozen and stored in a private lab, while scientists work on unlocking its medical potential.
I guess I saw it as a bit of an insurance policy. The research is still going and there's no end to it, so might be able to save our baby's life one day.
Growing numbers of parents are now paying to have their child's cord blood locked away in commercial labs for their exclusive use. It's already big business, with companies competing for a share of the booming baby economy. The service doesn't come cheap. Storage costs between $3,000 and $6,000 for 18 years.
I see it as an investment. It's not like BHP, it's not a guaranteed return investment. It's slightly more speculative, but equally the returns are much greater if it turns out to be a valuable investment.
But the concept of a private banking industry has sparked concern among some in the medical community who say the science is yet to be fully tested.
I think it should be made clear to parents that if they are intending to bank their child's cord blood, that the chances that the parents will actually, or that the child will actually use that blood is very low.
A child's own cord blood may not be suitable for treating him or her for some diseases such as leukemia. That's because doctors think the blood could already be imprinted with the disease and could reintroduce it into the body. The private companies are researching a range of other uses, but they're experimental at this stage.
There are no proven therapies of growing stem cells for yourself other than for bone marrow transplantation purposes. It may be that science will advance, but at the moment those are dreams.
BioCell is one of the handful of private companies licensed for cord blood storage in Australia. It's about to start a clinical trial on type 1 diabetes.
We can't prove that cord blood will have uses, but we think the science behind it's pretty strong. The catch-22 is that you can't prove these other applications of cord blood until people have stored it, and often the diseases we want to treat won't appear for years afterwards. So that's starting to happen around the world.
There are cases in the United States where cord that has been put into a private storage as opposed to public storage has been... But to my understanding, almost all, if not all of those, are for very experimental therapies for which we have no clear data that they're doing it good.
In line with its advertising code, the Therapeutic Goods Administration recently required BioCell to make changes to its website amid concerns about the claims being made.
We've actually recently reviewed all our literature and websites to make absolutely clear that we're talking about future uses on the whole. I hope we do it honestly. We're not trying to sell snake oil.
Another consideration is what happens to the samples if a private lab goes bankrupt, as has happened in the United States. The Therapeutic Goods Administration here says it doesn't regulate for that contingency, and it's a matter for the customer and the company.
All I can say at the moment is that our own company's just had a major reinvestment. We're establishing our own new facility, laboratories and so forth, and as part of that process we're working on a financial guarantee to ensure that these samples will be cared for the full 18 years. I can't speak for others, but it is an issue.
West Australian mother Barbara Ayling has had first-hand experience of the medical fraternity's mixed feelings towards cord blood collection. She has cerebral palsy, one of the conditions scientists hope could one day be treated using stem cells. Before giving birth earlier this year, Barbara Ayling decided she wanted her daughter's cord blood privately banked.
I thought, well, in 19 years' time we won't know what they might be able to do. And as long as you can store it, then you have that option.
2 GPs at the practice Barbara went to agreed to take the cord blood, and they received training packages on how to do it.
But when Barbara Ayling went into labour on a weekend, a different doctor was on duty at her regional hospital and he refused to carry out the procedure. The Aylings say they would have hired a private technician if they'd known, but have now missed their chance.
It's a choice that I have the right to make. I mean, apart from anything else, I'm spending a phenomenal amount of money to do this. I've made a very informed decision, and I would like that to have been more respected.
Doctors do not have a crystal ball. They don't know what's down the track in a month, a year, 10 years. It might be the very thing that could ameliorate cerebral palsy.
The doctor involved has declined to speak to the 7:30 report, but the Royal College of Obstetricians says some of its members don't want the added responsibility in the delivery room and are worried about their legal liability.
I think that's a valid concern. But for instance, if the blood was infected or the doctor didn't get enough, and then the parents experienced an acute need for that blood for whatever reason, then yeah, I'm sure that there would be some concerns about the way that it was collected.
All people who collect on behalf of our company are fully covered by our insurance. I think it's arguable that the liability is much greater if you refuse point blank to collect the cord blood.
Baby Jake Perozzi's parents are glad they were able to have their son's cord blood stored. They hope they'll never have to access it, but they're relieved it's there just in case.
Hate to need it one day and not have done it.
I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Danielle Parry with that report.